Hello Live Wires, Heather Boyd Wire here, and today it's Tip Tuesday. Today I'm going to show you how to make 10 easy projects with the Beadalon bail making pliers. I'm using 20 gauge and 22 gauge Beadalon German style wire and the Beadalon 6-step bail making pliers. I'm using the Beadalon Glimmer Series nipper tool, the Slimline Series chain nose and round nose pliers, the Beadalon nylon jaw pliers, and a stepped wooden ring mandrel. For the earring hooks, I will put 2 pieces of the 1 3/4 inch German style wire beside each other to form the loop, and holding them together, I will do the hook using a larger part of the bail making pliers and do a little bit of a jog in the wire. From there, we're going to clip them even, clip them flush with the nipper tool, and using the wire rounder, I will soften the ends of the hooks. There we have the pair. For the clasp style connector, I'm using 2.5 inches of 20 gauge German style wire, and I will make a loop on both ends of the wire, flipping it around and putting the second loop to the opposite direction. Make a closed loop. Now we will use a larger part of the bail making pliers to form the hooks. So hold it and bend the wire around, remove the pliers, flip it around, and holding it right beyond the loop, curve it around. Now you can hammer this to make it a little stiffer, but this is a nice basic kind of clasp slash connector that you can use for a variety of projects. Wiggle it so it's closed. Here's how it looks up close, and I'll link up a tutorial on how to use these to make a beautiful bracelet. You can make a variety of sizes of jump rings with the bail making pliers. We'll just twist the wire around one of the sections. We're going to press and turn to make multiple jump rings at once. Remove it and then clip it with the flush cutters or nipper tool, flipping your tool around to make sure the cuts are flush. So continue along. If you have a jewelry saw, you can saw these to make a cleaner cut, but this is a nice quick way to make jump rings. And again, you can hammer them if you want to make them a little stiffer, and here are all the jump rings. To make a basic clasp, you can even work right off the roll of the German style wire. We'll start by doing a closed loop at the end and bringing the wire around to make a hook. From there, we want to finish the wire, so we'll start by doing a bit of a loop, but we want it to be smaller than the size of the bail making pliers. So we're going to hold the wire and tug it so that loop becomes smaller. And then we're going to clip it flush and press it with the chain nose pliers. And you can hammer this to make it stiffer if you prefer. So adjust it, and it's finished like that. And to do a simple clasp on the other side, we're going to do a closed loop, flip the pliers and do a larger loop. Almost looks like an uneven infinity sign, but this is really useful to make a simple clasp, making sure your wire is half hard. The German wire is half hard, and you can hammer it to stiffen it a little bit more. Even it out with the pliers, and there we have our clasp. Now we're going to make some super cute little daisy earrings. They're kind of 3-dimensional. We're going to make 6 loops around the looping pliers, whatever size you want. This is a medium size. So we're just going to rotate around until we've made a coil. And then we're going to cut the end flush, flip it around, and finishing the ends in the same position on both sides, cutting them flush. And then we're going to spread the coil. You could stick your fingernail in there, or sometimes I even use my cutters just to open up those coils. Whatever works for you. We'll spread them around, and then once they're opened a bit, you can use your chain nose pliers to spread them even more to make the daisy shape. Bringing the petals apart and making sure they're even. Continue until you have a cool little shape. Looks a bit like a star. And then to hang it on the basic hook, you'll need a jump ring. You'll attach it onto the hook. And there's your beautiful earrings. Now we'll make a two-dimensional daisy earring. We're going to use the end of the bail making pliers, the smallest size, and we will make 6 or 5 little loops, bringing them around and making sure when you make the loop, we're going to bring the wire to the front and then to the back so it sits nice and flat. I've used these connectors to make multiple earrings and bracelets. I'll link up some other tutorials in the description below if you want to use these components to make other items, even rings. Continue to bring the loops around, following the shape of a flower, and remembering to alternate the direction of the wire from the front to the back. So now we have the 6 petals. Adjust it so it's even. And then take your round nose pliers and just hold the wire and bend it down through the center. We're going to attach a 4mm bead, push it down so it's centered in the daisy, and then bend the wire around, holding it with your thumb and finger. Rotate the wire so it surrounds that bead. Bring it all the way around. Clip it flush. Pinch in that little end so it's not pokey. Add some hooks to make some super cute little daisy earrings. To make the drop earring hooks, you're going to need about 3 inches of the German style wire. We'll cut 2 pieces and make loops on the ends of those wires, and then center that loop. So give it a little bit of a jog so it's centered. Stack the 2 pieces together, making sure they're even, and we're going to bend the wire a little longer than the previous hooks. You can make them any length you want. Separate them. Now give that loop a half turn so it's perpendicular to the hook, and we'll stack them again so we can get them even. Make sure they're lined up and clip the ends flush. These are going to hang down lower at the back, and you can soften the end with the wire rounders. Here you have the pair, and you can dangle your 3D flowers directly on those hooks because the loop is perpendicular. Now we're going to make some coiled ends for leather cord, and we will use the smallest section of the bail making pliers. I've left a little bit extra, and you'll see why at the end. We're going to form the coil, bring it around about 6 times or however big you want it, and then we're going to push on those ends to loosen it up so you can flip it off the pliers. Clip the ends flush with the nipper tool. Give it a little poke with the cutters just to open up the coil. With the chain nose pliers, just push up that little loop to make a loop end. There we have the coiled ends and also a spring you can use in the middle of the leather cord. Now I'll make a ring that's similar to my rings to make and sell tutorial. This is a beautiful bead given to me by Latidra. For the band, we're going to need about 3 to 4 inches of 20 or 18 gauge German style wire. Bring it around the mandrel a couple sizes less than what you need because it does spring back to make it bigger. Take the bail making pliers and form one of the loops, and then flip it around and make another loop directly underneath that first loop. Bring the wire right around, clip the ends flush with the nipper tool on both sides, give them a little clip, and use your chain nose pliers to make sure they're closed and there's no pokey ends. Now get some 22 gauge artistic wire to attach the bead in between those loops. I'm using the 8mm bead given to me by Latidra. There we have it, inserted between the loops. Now bring the end around the band. Make sure it's snug. Flip it around to give the initial wind, making sure the bead is firmly in place and there's no slack. And then we could bring the wire around 3 or 4 times, however many times you want, on both sides, tugging it as you go so there's no loose bits of wire. And you want your coil to be nice and even, so I always give it a little tug each time I go around, and you can use your pliers to tug it a little bit more and to feed it around the band. Clip it flush on both sides with the nipper tool or your flush cutters, and take the wire and give it a little rotate to make sure there's no little pokey ends. Hold and rotate, and you can adjust it on the ring mandrel, and there's your beautiful ring. To make the ring with 2 beads, we're going to make a loop in the center of an 8 or 10 inch piece of German style wire and curve the wires on either side of that loop. Just curve them with your thumb, put it on the ring mandrel, and wind the wire around on both sides, curving the wire right around the mandrel to make sure that it goes beyond the loop above and below. Remove it. Now hold the wire with the bail making pliers to form loops above and below that center loop. Bring the wires right around and then remove the bail making pliers. You can continue the loops with the tip of the bail making pliers. Hold the wire and push to make sure the loop is closed. Clip the loops flush on both sides. Just give them a little clip and pinch the ends in with your chain nose pliers. Make sure there's no little scratchy bits. This would work with 18 or 20 gauge German style wire. The 20 is a little more delicate. Now insert some 22 gauge wire, add 1 6mm bead, go through the center loop. This part's a little tricky. Add another 6mm bead and go through the last loop. So we have 2 beads. You can even do another one with 3 beads if you want. I would maybe use smaller beads if you're doing 3 beads. And we're going to finish it as we did with the first ring, where we wind it around the band about 3 or 4 times, making sure you tug it so there's no slack and that the coil is even. I put the video in fast motion for this part. Anytime my videos are too fast, you can slow them down in the playback settings. Clip the ends with the flush cutters. Give them a nice little clip. And get your chain nose pliers to compress the coil if you need to, and rotate it around so it's nice and snug and even and there's no scratchy end that will be on your finger. Adjust it on the ring mandrel and there's your beautiful double beaded ring. Thanks so much for watching the video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making tutorials. Join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook to share pictures of your wire art and wire jewelry. Hop over to the Wire Lady TV channel every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where I troubleshoot new ideas for wire art and jewelry, and I welcome your ideas and special requests. There's also templates, tutorials, and ebooks. You can use the coupon code SAVE25 to save 25% when you purchase any 5 templates, tutorials, or ebooks in my Etsy DIY shop. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.